my late dad was an entrepreneur, and my mom was a teacher. She's here, she's listening to me. So growing up back then as an entrepreneur, it's, and the contractor for that matter, it's when you get a job that you know that, okay, there's going to be plenty of money. And when he gets paid, we eat large and just live large. Whatever we ask for, we get in excess, we eat enough and waste the rest. And when there's no money, my mommy says we start eating possible soup, where you have to do concoction and just mix one thing or the other, and your breakfast or lunch is ready. Then my mom, on the other hand, was a teacher, an employee who had to live on a very mega salary that could not pay our school fees. Growing up as a child, I looked at my parents and I asked myself, do I really want to end up like them? Trust me, my answer was no, because I had friends whose parents were into investments and they had properties. And then growing up as a fine mushy babe, yes, I grew up in Mushy, and seeing my friends, their parents do well in their businesses and buy houses or build houses. And some of them who lost their parents at a tender age, they had properties left in their mother's care for their education. But looking at my father, whatever he earned from his contracts was just enough to sustain us for a short period of time. So I asked myself, what would I need to do to ensure that I don't end up like my parents who live from hand to mouth? So in my own wisdom, and like most of us, the answer to that question was go to school, make good grades, study hard, come out and get a good job. Don't study Yoruba or study one course that would not give you money. Study either engineering, medicine, accounting, or any of these beautiful white-collar jobs or blue-collar jobs, as we'll call it now. So I went to school. I studied accounting. After that, you can't be an accountant without a professional qualification. So I went on to pursue my ACCA, that's the UK certification for accountants. And I started working in the bank. I got a good job immediately after NYSC, and I got into the banking sector. And the ambitious piece told herself that in the next 10 years, I would see myself as a branch, as a bank manager. I looked at people around who had put in 10 years at that time, and they were at deputy manager role. Worst case scenario was assistant manager role. So I told myself I would aim for at least, worst case scenario, a manager role if I put in my best, get my certification, and just be me. Fast forward to 11 years in banking. I had just been promoted only 2 times in 11 years. So I asked myself, if it's going to take me 11 years to get 2 promotions, and I have 5 more levels ahead of me to get to manager level, how old will I be by managerial level? And in my bank, when I was leaving, when you hit the age of 55, they advise you to resign. So definitely, if I was going to wait for that kind of natural progression, I would, maybe at 55, I would just be maybe an assistant manager if my promotion comes every 5 years. But for those of us in the banking sector, know that the banking sector is not what it used to be, where promotion is within 18 months or 2 years max. Now you see people who stayed on the role for 8 years, 10 years, they are still on the same role. This was my reality. One day, while after most of my colleagues, then in my bank, January, before the payday, they lay off. And I saw a lot of my friends lose their jobs. In my team, we were a team of 3 people, and 2 of my teammates were asked to resign, except me. And I sat down to think about it. And I'm like, I could have been one of these people. I could have just been asked to go. If that had been my lot, what would have happened to me? What would happen to my family? What would happen to my parents and my siblings who were also depending on my little stipends that I give them every month? This awakened the consciousness and the curiosity in my mind to start looking for something else to do. I spoke with a few friends. Some of them are here today. Dipo, I see you. I spoke with his wife, and she told me something that day that resonated with me. She said, do something that you are passionate about. Do something that if they don't pay you today, that even if you had to do it for free, you would find fulfillment. And you know, someone said something. They said there are two very important days in the life of a man: the day he was born and the day he discovers what his purpose on earth is. And that day I told myself, I said, what gives me the greatest fulfillment is putting a smile on people's faces, being there for them, meeting a need. When I meet a need in someone's life, it gives me the greatest fulfillment. It might be by way of advice, it might be by cash gifts, it might be just my listening ear. But the fact that I am there for someone at his or her point of need makes me feel fulfilled. With the craze back then in Nigeria, everybody seemed to be on the edge. The traffic alone was enough to make one feel frustrated. And in the whole chaos that I was going through, both the pressure at work and everything, I had to sit down to ask myself, okay, how would what I love to do translate into money? Then I met someone who introduced me to avenues to wealth. I wasn't really interested. So the person said, okay, you know what? Since you're not interested in doing this business, you have a need, you have a problem that you're always complaining to me about. And what was that? Severe menstrual cramps. And she said, I'll give you this bottle. It's a 250 ml bottle. When I saw it, I just said, come, cut it. I don't drink herbal products. I don't take agbo. I don't take anything bitter. I would rather continue to take my painkillers. And those who knew me back in school knew that I was always loading myself with painkillers because of the menstrual cramps that I was always having. And after I had my first child, I came down with ulcer, and I was always having these severe pains. So the doctors told me that I can't take NSAID medications any longer. The highest I could take was paracetamol. So that meant excruciating pain for the rest of the month. So after this woman gave me a bottle, by the second day, she said, when she asked me when my period was due, I told her, and she said, start taking it now. Lo and behold, my period came and I didn't feel the pain. I said, okay, you said it's for diabetes, right? I have a guinea pig to try it on. I paid for a bottle and I sent it to my dad. And my mom called me like after a week to say, come, that thing is working for your daddy, and please make sure that your daddy pays for it, because the way he's drinking it, he does not allow me sleep. I said, excuse me, ma, he doesn't allow you. He said, yes, so the man does not allow me sleep because it's another thing you gave him medicine for, and it's another thing it is working in his body. And I'm like, okay. Based on those testimonies, my own testimony and the testimony of my dad through my mom, I went back to meet the woman to say, okay, let's talk about this. I started the business while still working in one of the banks in Nigeria, and it started growing. Things happened, and like those of us who travel out, I left the country to seek better opportunities. On getting to Canada, I discovered that it was a different ball game entirely. Yes, it's a gland of milk flowing with honey. I tell people it's just like somebody in the village who is anxious to get to Lagos, that there are opportunities in Lagos. Yes, there are opportunities in Lagos, but when you get to Lagos, you meet another kind of stress. So getting here, problem with the challenges I had with settling down and everything, I just looked at them. The bills were just so enormous, kept coming, and income was not commensurate with the bills that were coming. At this particular stage, my Igbo sense had to waking up, and I went back to my drawing board to say, come, if I continue like this, waiting for one paycheck that is not enough to meet my needs, when will I have that extra income to send to my parents in Nigeria? When will I have that extra income to save? And how much will I save? Even if I remove $200 every month, how many years will I need to save for to be able to afford a kind of lifestyle that I want? While praying, I saw an opportunity in, there was this advert in my church, a women's program, and I was like, I don't have anything. They opened up an avenue where women can come showcase their businesses. I didn't have anything I was doing. So after the advert came up in the women's WhatsApp group, the MD sent me a text to say he was in Canada, and as we speak, he's in Toronto. He has just 2 hours stopover. If I'm less busy, we could catch up, and I'll just say hi to him, then he'll catch his flight. Immediately, I dropped what I was doing and drove down to the west, which was about 30 minutes from where I was. I met him, and he said, take 1 carton. I looked at him, I looked at the carton. Me that I've not gotten my bearing. I'm in a new country. I don't really have friends. I've not built my network. Who am I going to sell it to? Moreover, when I was in Nigeria, we were driving the Ruzu brand. And I'm like, the Ruzu products that I came to Canada with, I couldn't sell it. I ended up drinking most of them and giving the rest as gifts. And some expired in my hand. So I just had to discard them. And I was like, this is different. Trust me, if you try this, you'll forget your woes. And I just took the carton just to honor him, not because I wanted to do the business. And when I got back at home, I continued my prayer. My spirit told me, what's that you have in your hand? And I said nothing. I said, you have something in your room. I looked at the carton, I'm like, me, sell bitters in church. You look at me, fine girl like me, selling agbo. How do I even shape my mouth to start that conversation? And you know, God will never give us an opportunity in the package that we expect. Most times, the blessings we're looking for comes in unattractive packages. And when we start looking at the limitations in our mind, we miss the point. We miss that blessing, and we stay praying in vain, because the answer that he has provided for us is in an unattractive package. And we just need to ask for direction and let that veil over our eyes be removed. I picked up my phone and I reached out to the pastor's wife. The program was to be on Saturday, and I buzzed her on Thursday to say, okay, I know the deadline was Monday, but my goods just arrived. Is it possible for me to still place an advert in the booklets that the program that was going to be printed? And she was like, she needs to call the printer. Fast forward, they got me in. I paid for the table and my share of canopy. I had to share canopy with someone because it was all fully booked. I came that day with my 1 carton of reader bitters when every other person had lots of things to showcase. I came with my bitters. And after speaking, people were just passing by my table because, you know, what's this? People had clothes, had jewelries, had all sorts of things to showcase. And I was just there with my unattractive bitters. Very few people came by to my table. I spoke with them and gave to them. At the end of the day, I sold only 5 bottles. It costed me $100 to rent the table and my share of canopy. I sold 5 bottles at $20. That's $100. I made no gain. Well, you know what? It's easy to throw in the towel when the storms of life pushes hard at you. But if you can only persevere and see the big picture, see where you're going to. As at this moment, I just knew that I had this leading to do this, finish. That was all the big picture that I could see. I didn't see the potentials. So I just started with that 5 bottles. 2 weeks after, these people called me to request for more. Now they weren't requesting for 2 bottles, they were requesting for 3 bottles. They had a friend who they wanted to give the products to. And that was how I started. And like joke, the business that looked like a child's play grew into a very large, a very profitable business that this is 1 year, exactly 1 year down the line, I was able to make the 3rd stockist for last month and the 5th stockist globally in Avenues to Wealth, in Green Mondays. Now, the moral for me in my story is be persistent. You just need a light bulb to come in your head. I sold for 8 months, 8 good months selling retail. I want to share my screen with you. I sold for 8 good months selling just retail to customers. Okay, I'm having issues with this. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I spent 8 months selling retail because I wasn't just cut out for network marketing. I wasn't interested in all those long story of talk to somebody. I just told the MD, I don't have time. You know, I'm a banker here. I don't have that time. I don't have friends. I'll just sell in church and that's it. Until one day, I listened to a presentation just like this one that you are listening to. And I just did like this. Yay, is this what I have been missing? I had limited myself to just one stream of income. And in that presentation, he explained to us that the essence of doing all this is to earn residual income, passive income. When you can no longer work as hard as you can now, what would you fall back on? Back in the university, then the rich dad, poor dad was just all over the place. I started buying stocks in the university. By the time after 1 year in the bank, remember I told you that I got a job immediately after youth service. In 1 year of working and 1 year of school service, while in school, I started buying shares. I had bought shares worth 700,000 in my after my first year of working. By the time the stock market dropped, those my shares just disappeared. The value of my shares just disappeared in the twinkling of an eye. Mind you, I was not knowledgeable about that business, and everything I had to do with somebody's speculation. So I lost my investment in it. I had some other friends who advised me to buy properties. Yes, property was a good business. Then Mowe land and everything started coming up, and lots of realtors were coming to our office to market. I bought two plots of land in Mowe. In 2009, I asked them for my documents. I had just received. I wanted my land papers, and they told me that, sorry, the company had been sold to another company, and now to regain my land, I had to pay 1 million for a land that I paid for 450. I had to pay 1 million to get that land. That's how my investment in property in Mowe just went down the drain. So I became very skeptical about buying land with anybody. When I am ready, I would invest. But you know, there is a problem with that kind of model where you're waiting for the right opportunity, where you're waiting for the environment and every circumstance around you to just be perfect for you to invest. That's one problem. Now, the number 2 problem is when you don't have the right information to go about that business that you think would give you that that passive income in future, you would end up losing your money. Why did I now? after listening to the MD's seminar, I sat down to ask myself, Peace, what are the things you would look out for before you invest in any company? And number one, the management, the company profile. Who are those at the helm of the affair? I have worked with this company before, even though it was just for a very short time. But from just knowing the MD from afar and seeing how large his heart is, seeing all the ideas he was able to bring to the table, how he listens to his distributors. When we complain about certain things, he looks into it and ensures that process improvement was put in place. I just told myself, this is the kind of company that I want to belong to, not a company where I am just a number, not a company that I don't, my advice or my opinion do not count. That was one thing that made me change my mind about just being a retailer. So after listening to him, the light bulb just turned on in my head. And I said, Peace, you love putting smiles on people's faces. Just by the retailing you have been doing for 8 months, you have amazing testimonies. You've made lots of new friends. You've been able to build a community by doing this. And you've not been earning phenomenally. You've just been doing this and earning your small income on the side. Now you can build, you can take this like your own job. You can take this like your own dream, like your own, with all the passion in this world, and drive this business. Those that have me as contact know that from June, I started bombarding them. This is for a business that I've been doing just with nonchalant attitude for 8 months. But the day the light bulb turned on in my head, I took my business from my business to a different level. And what did I think of that made me take my business to another level? I asked myself, I said, now, if McDonald's approaches you and say, Peace, we see all the volunteer work you do, and we're interested in helping you fulfill your dream. Okay, how much do you have to get a franchise? And I tell them, no, I don't have so much capital. I have just maybe $100,000 to invest. And they say, okay, normally we would sell our franchise for $200,000. But since you have $100,000, take the franchise and drive it. I asked myself, how would I feel? For a value of $200,000, I've been given this opportunity at $100,000. I said I would jump up. Okay, what will you do differently? I said, I'll start advertising. I'll tell my friends, don't eat outside. Come to my own McDonald's. I'll start doing things differently to make sure that I drive the sales of my own franchise. Mind you, it's the same McDonald's. It might be the same Tasty Fried Chicken or the same confectionery wherever you are in the part of the world. I told myself, this is a brand. Running this business is like running a franchise. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you don't drive this business like it's yours, if you don't see it from the mind's eye that this is a brand that has been given to you on a platter of gold, with you investing just little amounts of money in it to drive it, you would just be stagnant, and you will keep praying for God to open a door which He has already opened for you, and you keep bombarding heaven, asking God to do a miracle that has already been given to you on a platter of gold. Based on this, I just told myself, I called the MD and I said, what do I need to do? And it gave me a target. Bring in 7 people in this month. I give you this month to bring in 7 people. I looked at it, it was the 14th of May. I said, where am I going to get 7 people from? Something I've done for 8 months and I couldn't bring 1 person. But you know what? When your eyes get opened, when this bulb turns on in your head, your mind begins to think. You begin to strategize. You begin to see opportunities in places where you never, ever imagined. That was what happened to me. And you know what? In 14 days, I got the 7 people. And they are here in this meeting. I told you my reason for doing what I do. It gives me joy. I am still an employee. You might be here saying it's because she does it full time. No, I took today off. I took my vacation day today so that I can do this for you guys out there. I'm still working my 9 to 5. And because I'm working from home, I don't have closing time. So I work till when I'm tired and I still do my business along the line. So you don't have an excuse. I'm not a housewife. I am not a full-time network marketer. I am still an auditor in a bank. I am still a wife and I am still a mother. And I do this because it puts smiles on people's faces. And what more could be more rewarding, like putting a smile on someone's face and getting rewarded for that. So before, it used to be about the product. You just want to buy a product because it's good. Now it's different. People buy products because of the experience they derive from the product. They buy this product because they can get it anywhere. They buy this product because of how you have sold it to them. They buy this product because they are not just paying you for the product. They are paying you for the value they are getting from the product. They are paying you for the relationship they are getting. I have people who would not go to the store to buy. They know the stores they could buy from, but they would rather go pick up from my friends in Toronto rather than go to them because they want to keep that relationship with me. So if you're doing a business and you're just doing it for the fun of doing it, I think you need to change your approach because the world is evolving, and to stay relevant in this space, you have to evolve and be dynamic in your approach. Now, why reader bitters? People don't understand why it's able to do so many things. If you know the components or the herbs that have been carefully selected in the right proportion, you know something, the same tree that has that the leaves will cure one thing, the roots of that tree might do something totally different. And for the leaves, if you take it in a particular proportion, it would cure you. You take it in another proportion, it will cause damage. That is why this is not just a roadside herb. We have a lot of research, a lot of work has gone into the formula. We have undergone toxicity testing. We have undergone our preclinical testing. And guess what? We are in the clinical stage. In Nigeria, no herbal bitters has gotten to this stage. And that is because we know the value that we are giving and we know the space we want to occupy. Reader bitters takes care of oxidative stress, free radicals, oxidative stress. And people would wonder, what kind of big grammar is this? These free radicals arise because of the things we are exposed to. The environments we live in, smoking, you might not be smoking, but inhaling smoke is even worse than smoking it because that's secondary smoking. The diet that we are on, the medications that you're taking, I have customers in Canada who told me that they were trying to get rid of a particular ailment and the medications that they were prescribed to them was causing something totally disastrous in their body. It's treating one thing, but giving you 1 million side effects. Air pollution, fast food, stress. How many of us rest enough? How many of us work out? How many of us are not exposed to toxins? It's just impossible for you to live in this environment and not be exposed to any of these things. And what happens is that these free radicals fight with our immunity, and it reduces our ability to the ability of our white blood cells to fight these diseases, bacteria or virus. And when the free radicals overpowers our immune system, what happens? We break down. Depending on where we have a higher amount of toxin in our body, it shows up in different. It shows up in different forms. Like this, if it's in the eye, you come down. The person comes down with cataracts. If it's in multi-organs, diabetes, aging, chronic fatigue. If it's in blood vessels, you see all the list, the hypertension and whatnot. That's why somebody can take reader bitters. They can buy reader bitters for joint pain and discover that the blood sugar has regularized. Discover that the chronic pain or the hypertension, or the high blood sugar has also regularized. This is because it works at the cellular level. Now, in joining this company, what do you get? What do you stand to get? You stand to benefit from a personalized web portal. From my web portal, from the moment you join us and you are activated, you have a web portal. You can track your business. You can know how many people are under you. You can know, you can just see what your team is doing firsthand. You don't need to do anything. It is done automatically from the back end. It gives you a distributorship of our range of products. We have lots of amazing products. It gives you agency opportunities to real estate, travel. Reader Bitters is not just the only thing we do. We have financial inclusion. Those who participated in that are already undergoing their interview stage right now as we speak. Personal development opportunities. This price is just too small because if you don't know how to read, you stop growing. So what we do is not just telling you go and read one book like me, I would sleep. We train, lots of training on our YouTube platform, lots of training going on at least every day, and developmental leadership training, trainings that would set your mind ablaze to succeed. If you have this low self-esteem about yourself, you attend our leadership training, your mind will pop open. Every bulb that has gone dead in your brain like this will just start to pop, and you'll start to think differently. Everything that you have been looking at and been making excuses for, when you see people who came from very, very humble backgrounds, rise to the top of leading blue chip companies in Nigeria, you just tell yourself, no, I've got to do something about my stand. So now, to the registration options, there are different ways to come on board in our business. The best way to come on board, of course, is the VIP level. The VIP level gives you unlimited access to earnings. You earn from generation to generation to generation. My husband was asking me the other day, what do I mean? He hears me say generation to generation. I said, bros, my downline brings somebody, somebody brings another person, brings another person, brings another person, brings another. That in the next 10 years, my dream is to sit down that in the next 10 years, that I want to have at least 10,000 downlines. So that if out of that 10,000 downlines, just 10% is working, I know that every month I'm receiving income from the work of 1,000 people. That is worst case scenario. And that's what the VIP gives you. But if you say, oh no, I don't have this kind of money to start a business that I'm not even too sure of, that this one, her mouth is running like this, Peace knows how to sweet talk. Those that know me know that I don't have time to bamboozle anybody. I tell you how it is. I share my story. You know me, where I'm coming from. Those who's known me from university days know that I am a go-getter. I've not had it easy, but when I put my mind to something, I make sure I pursue it and I strive to achieve success in that thing. And that is why I sent out the broadcast to you today, to come and learn from what I have been able to do differently. So you could, if you say no, that 400 is too small, is too much, you could start at any of this level. And when you join in, from making retail profit, this is what you stand to get. We have amazing range of products. This is our new kid on the block. The Reader body wash, the body wash, the hand wash, the Reader Bitters itself, the cleanser, the fat burner, the fire. I'll just talk briefly about what each of them does. The Reader Bitters detoxify. It is like the standard for all our products. The fire is for men's reproductive health. And I tell the men that I speak with, I said, apart from reproductive health and performance or whatever, it is good for a man who's approaching 40 or above 40 to start to take care of his prostate health. Reader Fire is excellent. We have amazing testimonies of people who's had prostate cancer get better, see amazing results from using the fire. For the Restore, it's just the flip side. Fertility issues, hormonal imbalance, and everything that has to do with a woman's reproductive health. The Reader Restore is excellent on that. For the cleanser, strong with infections. If you're having infections and it's not going, just use the Rita Bitters and the cleanser. For the balm, I was wondering how come the balm is able to heal headaches, because when I have headache, I just put the balm there and it just, in less than 30 minutes, I feel relieved. Until the day I picked it up, wore my glasses and checked, and I saw eucalyptus oil as one of the major active ingredients in the balm. Google eucalyptus oil, Google lavender oil. You would see that somebody asked me, what's the difference between this and the aboniki and the rubs of this one? I said, there's no comparison. This is herbal. This is herbal. If you Google just the healing properties of eucalyptus, it tells you that this balm is able to do what it says it can do. The hand sanitizers are amazing. The fragrance is lovely. So now, if you come in at bronze, it takes you to 7 levels deep to earn 100% payout, like what I was explaining the last time. So from level 8 to 12, excuse me, please. Excuse me. Level 8 to 12, you just earn 10%. Why would you come in and work so hard? Because you're trying to create something for yourself in the future and just come in at this. So if this is where you have the ability to come in now, come in, and as you progress, make sure you upgrade so that you can be in either of these levels and earn 100% payout and earn 2% or 1% global share monthly. These 2 levels are where you should aim to get to, at least. So from investing in our network, what do you stand to get? Active income. That is what you do. Leverage income is what you benefit from working as a team. Like last month, I had a target for myself. Out of that target, I achieved 50% of that target myself. My team members achieved the other 50%. If you want to go far, you go with what? So because I have a team of people who are also working hard, I'm able to leverage their support. I'm able to leverage from what they have done in that month. And that gives me good income that I did not directly work for. As an employee, it's what you whether I work extra hours or I bring in 1 million customers, I don't get rewarded commensurate to what I put in. It's a different ball game here. You work very hard, you earn very well. That is how it is. So passive income is what you get when you can no longer do as much work as you're doing now that you're still active. Yes, 13 ways to earn. Your home girl was just earning only retail profit for 8 months. And the day my eyes opened and I brought in the first 7 that I did bring in, I started enjoying all this. And I was like, wow, I've been dulling myself all along. Yes, it might look like I'm making mouth, but you would never understand until you bring in one person. By the time you bring in one person and you see how this plays out, you would understand that the best way to grow is to open your mouth and spread the testimony. Just tell somebody about your own testimony and watch what would happen. Use the product, share the product with a friend, give it to a family member, ask for their feedback. And you know the best part of this, our company that I love, we have an amazing medical team on standby. This is not just one product you go to the shop and pick. And when you're having a reaction, there's nobody to talk to. We have an amazing team of medical professionals, doctors, pharmacists on ground to respond to your questions. So when I sell to somebody and the person comes back to say, oh, I think I'm having, I discovered that I was having this or I was having that. What do you think I should do? Or my sister is having this issue. Do you think I should recommend Rita Bitters? I'm not a doctor. We have people on ground to give us that kind of support. That is the kind of support we get in this network. You are not on your own. You are in the team, and you have the company and its leadership team backing you. So, assuming I have 4 good people working with me, who drives this business like me, whose eyes have been opened like me, what is the power of these 4 people? What can I achieve by sponsoring 4 people who would catch this vision like me and run with it? This is it, instant reward, everything. So assuming it takes me 3 months to achieve this, it didn't take me 3 months to achieve this. I achieved this in 1 month. It took me another 1 month to achieve this. So if I continue like this and achieve all this in 1 month, this is where I would get to. But for some people, it might not work that way. So assuming it takes 4 years or 5 years or 10 years to get to this level, isn't it phenomenal? I lost my dad last 2 months and my mom went to withdraw her retirement savings. You won't want to believe how much interest her retirement savings had earned her. 10,000 naira for how many years? If I put in 5 years of diligence, of purpose, of focus, and I drive people and inspire people just as I'm doing now, and worst case scenario, I'm able to earn 10% of this in a monthly on a monthly basis. Haven't I done well for myself? I think I have. When you buy products monthly, if just 1% of that your team is doing their monthly repurchase, whether to buy for themselves or to buy to sell or to buy to just give to anybody. And you know what? Our monthly repurchase is not even expensive. If 1% of your team is doing their monthly repurchase, this is what you stand to get. This is what you start to get. If your team of 4 is doing this, if it's only you doing, you're getting 500. If it's your team of 4 doing, this is what you stand to get. Isn't it phenomenal? So this is the strategy. You can choose, you drive your business. You are the author and finisher of how far you want to go. God has given us everything we need. God has given me a smiley face. God has given me a large heart. To some other person, God has given you the capital to drive the business. God has given you the network. To some of us who don't even have the network, we have mouths. We have mouths. We have our church group. I started with my church group. We have our committee of friends. I have my primary school group and my university group. They are all here. Start from your little Jerusalem. Don't wait till when you have money to do billboards and when you have money to travel everywhere. Start with what you have. And you know what? If this light bulb that I've shared with you today comes in on your mind, ask yourself, are you qualified? Qualification here does not mean you have the financial capability. You might have all the money, but no drive. You might have all the money, but no influence. You might have all the money and feel you know everything about the business. In this business, you learn every day. As at December last year, nobody knew that we would stay at home for how many months now? Nobody believed that banks, especially banks in Nigeria, in fact, banks all over the world, will be able to work from home. Nobody believed that was possible. So if you are not teachable in this business, you can't go far. If you are qualified and you've listened to what I have had to say, and you've listened to my story and listened to everything that we've had, all the slides we've had to go through, and you feel that this is something you want to give a try, I'll tell you convincingly that you are not making a wrong decision, because apart from you achieving achieving your dream, which for someone else might be to travel all over the world. Yes, I want to do that, but that is not my dream. My dream is to touch lives. And if I get rewarded for it, which the company rewards me for, fantastic. I would implore you to reach out to the person who sent this message to you or who invited you to this broadcast and to this presentation and signify your interest. And when you join, please don't forget to say hi to me and tell me that you were at my presentation and you enjoyed my presentation. So from my end here in Canada, I would want to take just one testimony on someone who has bought the product, who has used the product, and who wants to say something about the product. You just unmute yourself and speak. Anybody?
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I was just relaying this testimony to CM just a minute ago. This happened, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago. Someone who has been battling some health issues, diabetes, and he's a bit obese, so he got the fat burner and some other products. He had bought them before. He wanted to do the 90-day challenge, but he couldn't get everything at once. So he got another batch on Tuesday or so. So, and, you know, since he wasn't a first-time buyer, he had bought, he showed that he believed in the products and all of that. I just added some Jara for him. I added the balm and a 30 mils Reader Bitters. Sorry, my son is just, so, you know, I added the balm and 30 mils Reader Bitters to his package. So after he got the package, just sent me a message, said, Madam, thank you for the Jara you put to, and all that. I said, you're welcome. And I told him that the balm is actually really good. It's good for headaches and aches, generally pains. It does well with pains. He said, really? He said, actually, as soon as I got it, even though I didn't order for it, as soon as I checked it and I saw that it was a balm, I just applied it. I didn't tell you before, I have gout arthritis. And I applied it. And almost as soon as I applied it, I discovered that it's like I was getting relief already. He said, but I've been studying it. I'm still studying. I said, okay, don't study. That's how it works. I mean, he said, really? You know, and that was just an extra that I gave. I mean, it shows that even everyone with discount, I would say, oh, okay, let me just give this person as an extra. Every single product that Reader has is value. I mean, it's really valuable. And I mean, just to say that there are a lot of people around us who have health issues. You really could never tell how far, you know, some of these things can go for people. People are, there are different people are using cloth to cover, as it were, you know, and like you have rightly said, as we're helping people meet their needs, as we're impacting lives, we also get rewarded for it. We have a change of lifestyle, we can achieve our dreams. It's a whole package that is exciting to me. I mean, you can really do good, get paid, get the life of your dreams. That's like the dream life. And that's what Bring Mondays seeks to achieve for each and every one of us. I'm really excited. Every day I hear about these testimonies. It's really amazing. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. And to add to that, she's going to Singapore. I'm still working towards going to Singapore. Yes, oh, yeah. I like to travel. So I'm working towards that. I'll share one testimony, or does any other person have a testimony to share?
There's someone raising their hand, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You can unmute, ma.
Unmute yourself, ma.
Good evening, Coach Peace. Well done. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine bought Reader Herbal Bitters and Reader Fire for an in-law of ours that had this prostate issue. And just this morning, she was telling me that from the first day she started using the Reader Fire, the man started having positive testimonies. I'm so excited about it. And that's the second person that will be using this Reader Herbal Bitters and the Fire, you know, for prostate issue. So Reader rocks, really. Reader works, Reader Fire works, Reader Herbal Bitters works. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll share one of my very interesting testimonies of one of my downlines here. Most of my downlines, in fact, all my downlines became distributors because they used the product. They were once customers, they used the product and it worked for them. And for one of them, she bought it for pile. And she told me by the second day, it was gone. She was drinking it and she was applying it at the area. And by the second day, it was gone. And she saw one of the testimonies that I posted about somebody having bruise, and the person applied the Rita bitters to the bruise and it dried up. She applied the same Rita bitters to the bruise on her daughter's ear, and by the next day, it had dried up. We have people who have diabetes wound. You know how bad that can be. And they apply it topically and drink the bitters, and in no time, the wounds heal. So it's an amazing product. It's one thing to be in a network, and it's another thing to market a product that works. With Rita Bitters, you know that you have return purchase. You know that you have people coming to ask you, how can I get on board? This product is working. How can I get on board to be a distributor? So I want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for honoring our invitation today. I see it's a very large turnout. Thank you so much. And I hope you had a nice time. And I hope the same light bulb that turned on in my head has turned up in your head. God bless you. And have an amazing Friday.